So yeah, unfortunately we're shut today. As you can see, we've had some damage, and it's not just isolated to this area, it is throughout the entire grounds. Now you might be thinking to yourself, what terrible person has done that? Well, it wasn't a person. It was a herd of cows. So somehow they've escaped from our neighbour's field, they've got through the river, and they've just gone through the entire grounds, and they have made such a mess. So obviously I've got the normal thing you're going to end up with cows, with hoof prints everywhere and, shall we say, manure in lots of places. So I've got a lot of clearing up to do. But the other problem is we're not designed for cows, we're designed for people. Cows are a lot heavier and they have a tendency to rub themselves on things. So we've got a number of broken posts that I'm going to have to replace. This section here is going to remain like this for a while because they've done so much damage to the bridge. I think we're going to end up with a new bridge. Be good content if I get to do it myself. But as much as I wanted to replace that bridge, I didn't want to do it right now. So yeah, so I'm going to go around the grounds and repair some of the damage that I can find. So the cows have come through here at some point. We've got a small amount of damage on the tree, which I'm not too worried about. That will heal over. But a cow has put its hoof right near the edge here. And that's just collapsed the whole thing down. And the biggest problem here is we've now got a great big hole in the fence, which means that our ducks aren't secure. So yeah, first thing to do is fix that. Okay, so that's the hole fixed in the fence there. Now there are two posts that need replacing on this fence as well. I'm not going to do those right now because there's more important things to be getting on with, so I'm going to go and do those and I will be back to this later. So I'm down at the other end of the bottom lake now, and the cows have come down through here at one point and they've walked too close to this edge. So as you can see, we've got 2 hoof points there where the cows have stood, and it's just pushed all this lot out. So all that lot, although it's got moss on it, is nice and secure. They're nice and solid, those posts. But then as you come up to there, this was kind of an extension to that. And as you can see, that's what's snapped off. So the plan is to rip that out, a couple more posts in and a few more planks. To be honest, this isn't as vital because as you can see, it drops off, and then at this point here, there's no boards in there. That's literally just the grass. So I am trying to push the path further back this way so people don't walk so close anyway. But yeah, it's damaged, so I've got to repair it because we don't want the edge of the path crumbling. So yeah, I'm going to go and get some more materials. Okay, so that's that all finished. So I'm not 100% happy with it, but as you saw, I stood on it, it took my weight, so it's not going to collapse, which is the important thing. Hopefully now the grasses will get re-established, and I'll try and plant some reeds down on the bottom there as well, because it'd be nice to fill that section in properly. But that should all be nice and stable. I've also put those logs in to try and encourage people to just take the corner a little bit wider. So I'll come back at some point with a strimmer and just take that ivy back. But that should do for now, so on to the next bit. So the next section is this fence along here. As you can see, it's all fallen down into the water. Now, it's not a great fence at stopping people because it is only knee high, but people seem to feel safer with a barrier there. So, yep, time to put it back. Okay, well that's that one done now. So I'm irritated by that one post down there because it's wonky. The rest of them all went in nice and straight, but that one hit a rock, so it's wonky, so never mind. But yeah, so that's that, as strong as it was when it was first built, and it's worked like that for years, so that's good. On to the next thing. So this is very much going to be a temporary bodge. So this corner post here is snapped where the cows have gone round it. So I do need to replace the post because it's broken at the bottom. But I haven't got any of that size in the shed. So while I wait for one of those to be delivered, what I'm thinking is, because this is designed to stop you from falling down that hole there, it's a pushing force that is going to be against it. So if I put those bars back into the slots where they're supposed to be and screw them into place, then if anyone pushes against it, it should be solid, it shouldn't go anywhere. If anyone pulls on it, the screw should hold it in place. It's not ideal, but it should do as a temporary. Right, so that seems relatively solid. I don't think anyone's going to fall through there over the weekend, so I can then replace the post on that when I'm ready to, which would be better. So that area over there is all cordoned off, and I'm leaving it that way because we need a new bridge now. That's not going to be repaired before the weekend. But I think that's the last of the immediate repairs that have to be done before we can allow public back on the grounds. There's still random things, because the cows have gone through here, which have churned up all this lot, but they've actually climbed up and gone over the fence there, so they've crushed all the wire fence there, and there's a broken post up there. But that's not going to affect the public going round, so I'll get that sorted later. So I think there's one last thing to do today before we can allow the public back in, and that's a fun job of shoveling some waste. Well, this is going to be fun. I don't know what they've been eating, but it's yeah, not going to be easy to clear up. Right, well I think that's everything cleared from the paths now. Like I say, there's still some repairs to do, but we can have the grounds back open again for the weekend. Oh dear. If it's not one thing, it's another. Now we've got 3 sheep wandering around the middle lake. I've got no idea where they've come from, so we'll have to phone some of the farmers and see if they're missing some sheep. Brilliant. Right, it's a few days later. I told the farmer about the sheep, so they've now gone. We've had some really heavy downpours of rain, so that's washed any of the muck that I missed away, hopefully. So, as you can see, autumn's kind of appeared as well, which really doesn't help. So my plan today is to go around like mad. It's actually Monday, and I come in because of the fact that the weather forecast is just so awful for this week. This is the only dry day, so and it's already rained this morning. But yeah, so I'm starting off with a strimmer. So while I've got the strimmer out, I thought I'll give this bit a quick strim so we can actually see this fence, so I can get that repaired someday, and I'll get that bit of the path that I said about as well. So right, let's get the strimmer going. Right, that's the worst of that down, and I can now see what I'm doing to actually repair that fence. The rest of this area I will be strewing, but I'll be doing that as a separate video. So, right, on to the other section. Right, well that's plenty wide enough, so now back to fixing that fence. Okay, it's a couple of days later and I'm back for the fence. Now, don't be fooled by the sunshine. I'm trying to do this between showers and we've had just a horrendous downpour a couple of seconds ago, so everything's drenched. But yeah, so I know this fence doesn't show up too well on the camera, but what you've got is you've got this heavy-duty sheep fencing down here. So that, for some reason, is a little lower than normal, but that runs along the bottom. And then at some point they've extended it with this chicken wire here. So plan is I want to run new wires across the top to support this chicken wire better, so that'll be more solid. I've got this post here that needs replacing, and for some reason I don't have any idea why, but they had like a waterfall feature in here. When they did that, they cut a section of the fence out to build it, so I'm going to repair that as well. So yeah, let's start with this post. Right, well that wasn't easy, but I managed to get it done. So the fence is now back up. I've pulled the chicken wire up and put it back in place. And I've been using this tool. I don't know if you actually know what one of these are, but it works a little bit like a stapler. So you hook it around the 2 bits of wire that you want to use and just squeeze it. And inside there's these little clip things. It just squeezes them closed in a circle like that and holds the wire on the fence. So yeah, right, hopefully the owner should be back by now with the 2 new posts down there. So let's go and sort those out. Okay, well the owner's got back with the posts and they were the wrong ones, so while we work out what I'm going to do about those, I'm going to look at these 2 posts that are snapped. So we've got this one here, no, this one here, that's the one, and then there's one down there as well. So yeah, we'll get those swapped out. Will you hop along? Yeah, I think that is. So I'm calling this duck hop along because it was born with a birth defect, so one of its feet wasn't properly formed. So it seems to be incredibly healthy. We've trapped it and put it in the chicken coop once and it managed to break out. But yeah, has a bit of trouble walking because of its dodgy leg. It seems quite friendly though. So, right, carry on with this fence. See if you sit there all the time. Well, that one was nice and straightforward. Hopefully this one down here is going to behave as well. It's times like this I really could do with a second pair of hands, because if I hold this tight like this, I can only use one hand to swing, which isn't very strong. If I let go of it, then I can use both hands to swing, but then every time I hit it, it's going out like that. So this is going to be slow. Right, and that's the second post done. Now, I do need to trim the top off of that. I stopped there when I was hammering it in because the top of it was starting to split, and if you hit it harder, it's just going to carry on splitting. So I can trim that flush now, and that'll be fine. So yes, right, let's go and look at these 2 posts down there, and then that is it. That's the last of the repairs, I believe. So I tried using the posts that the owner had got, but it wasn't working. So the owner went and got some square posts because that's what I needed. So I got the right size posts. I then got along with a hand router and routed the squares out for the beams to sit in. Now, it's not great, but it's the best I could do kneeling on the floor of the shed. So, right, let's get them in. Well, I think I've managed to find the strongest part of this place. If everything was built like that, we wouldn't be having half this problem. Right, I'm going to turn the camera off. I'll turn it back on if anything interesting happens. In the meantime, I'm going to carry on breaking concrete. See you in a second. Okay, so that's that post done and all secure now. So I know the handrails didn't look the best, but I'm only repairing what the cows actually damaged, so they'll be fine for now. Now, I didn't cement the post in, I compacted gravel around the bottom of it. Personally, I prefer the gravel because it's free draining, so the post should last a little bit longer. But the other thing is, when it comes to replacing things like this, it means you're not having to dig through great big blocks of concrete. So talking of great big blocks of concrete, I've still got to do this post here on the end. So I'm thinking, rather than trying to dig, because I know there's going to be another big block of concrete on the bottom of here, rather than digging that out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the rails off and just shift the post over, so that'll be so much easier. And the other useful thing about that is the end of this rail has gone a little bit rotten, so I can cut the rotten section off and shift it up by that much. Why can't anything just be simple? I just want something nice and new out the box that you just slot together and that's it, it's done. Fed up of thinking. I've forgotten how I did that post over there, and I've just remembered now I've taken it apart this far. So I'm going to put that back together and screw that plank on so that the beams are at the correct height. I can then know how to cut those off, because I was trying to take those beams out, but the screw that holds the middle one in won't come out, so it's going to have to stay there. So not a problem, because that's what I did with the others. So let's start again. Oh, dig a hole, I said. It'll be easier, I said. No, it's not. Right, I'll get back to you when I've got a hole. There we go, all done. Another half hour of digging through shale rock this time. Easier than the concrete, but still heavy going. Let's get this fence finished. On second thoughts, let's make the hole bigger. Right, so that's that post done, and that is it for this video. So that's not everything fixed. There's still lots of little things to do around the grounds, but I'm not going to bother recording those. And obviously there's that big section over there. So the owner's hoping to go through the insurance company, but it does look like I'm going to be replacing the bridge because he's asked me for material lists and estimated times. So that might be a future video. But I've still got things like all this bank that I'm going to be strimming. I've got all the leaves starting to drop, so I'm going to be doing lots of raking for those. I have got the platforms around the lake that I've been replacing that I've got to get on with. And there's just so much more. My list is about 6 pages long now. So, right, I'm going to end this video here. It's been a bit of a long one. But hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you later.